Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com and the Big Four Accounting Firms YouTube channel. Before we get started, just wanted to remind everybody to support us if you have a chance or if you can. Even $1 helps, and we have a link in the description to a website called Buy Me a Coffee. It's just a way to donate to us and support us. Again, any amount is helpful so that we can keep putting out content. And there's also other ways for you to support us in the show notes to this podcast or on YouTube in the description. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about PwC's UK results. They just released their results earlier this week, and they had 4.45 billion pounds of revenue, and that represents an increase of 2% from the prior year. And that's not that good. But they said that their profit went up 25% to 1.17 billion. And they also said that they had 3,300 new joiners as the firm continued to invest in people and honored job offers. An audit increased their growth by 7%, while risk decreased by 2%, consulting went down by 6%, deals went up by 9%, and tax was relatively flat. So this is a little bit concerning, but also I think this might be due to regulation and trying to figure out where they're headed as far as splitting up audit and consulting. And so I think this is I think it's showing how tough the market is in Europe right now, because as a Big Four accounting firm right now, you can't be losing money in consulting in a year that was really good in other regions. But I think this is just more of the same in the UK and Europe, that we'll continue to see this. And they say that they can attribute their 2% revenue growth to two underlying trends. They saw a significant uptick in growth in the second half of the year as client activity rebounded. And second, with large numbers of our people working from home due to the pandemic, revenue related to client engagement costs such as business travel expenses declined considerably. So it's because of these reduced expenses that they were able to have a good profit in the year, but it doesn't seem like they're selling too much new revenue, especially with consulting. And they say with PwC's new global strategy of the new equation, they will invest $1 billion in the UK over the next 5 years on a number of ambitious programs to create jobs, increase skills, and deliver wider benefits to the UK economy. And I mean, that's a lot of money for them to invest in the UK. And another interesting thing here is the financial recognition portion. They say that they increased their staff bonus pool to a record high of 128 million pounds, up from 83 million last year and 113 million in the year before that. And if you also remember, we previously spoke about partner pay, and they discussed that in here. And they say the total partner pay was 868,000 pounds, which is way up 200,000 pounds from 685,000 last year, and then 765,000 the year before that. So we saw that the PwC partners are making a killing in the UK despite not so good growth. But I guess the profit really allowed them to pay themselves. But I think that's something to keep in mind, that these partners are always going to pay themselves first before they distribute to employees. They did increase the bonus pool considerably as well, but I think they're trying to get as many people to stay as possible. So we'll just have to keep an eye on how that pay keeps increasing, because that's a lot of money for a partner to make, especially based on last year. And I think the biggest takeaway here is that the year wasn't as good as we thought it might be for PwC in the UK, and they didn't really discuss it too much. They discussed the good things, but they didn't discuss why the revenue and consulting decreased by so much. And then also, in the face of decreasing pay in consulting and relatively steady revenues. Why did partner pay increase by so much? It's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on that, and why the partners decided to pay themselves so much, especially with Delta variant and other concerns of about the global economy right now. So it's a very interesting release. We'll have to see how the PwC's global release factors all this in. I guess the other regions are going to have to pull PwC up and to have better growth this year. But it looks like pay continues to increase for everybody at the Big Four, which is good. And hopefully everybody out there is getting their share of it. But that's the podcast for today. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast to get future updates and like this video on YouTube. Thanks for listening.